If you're looking for the most cost-effective way to get spot-free water for all your car wash, car detailing needs, this is the video for you. I just spent a few hours comparing the results from different machines, different companies, different types of DI tanks to see which one is the best price per gallon produced, and I have the answer for you. But before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into exactly what is DI or deionized water. So in our water, we have something called TDS, or total dissolved solids, little particulates of different types of materials that can cause water spots on the surface of your paintwork. Now these TDS, total dissolved solids, are measured by ppm, or parts per million. Now I did some research, and from what I saw, the average across the US is about 350 parts per million of total dissolved solids in our tap water. Now that's important because the higher number of total dissolved solids, the less yield you're gonna get out of one of these tanks. The reason for that is it's gonna contaminate the resins that are inside the tank faster, so you're gonna get less of a yield. So one of the things that I always recommend is picking up a TDS meter like this one. I'll link them down in the description so you can get them. You can get them right on Amazon, super easy. Basically all you do is fill up a little bucket of water, stick the prongs that are under this cap here into the water, and it'll immediately tell you what the total dissolved solids by parts per million are. And what a DI system will do is actually filter out all those particulates, all the total dissolved solids in your water, and push it out the other side, completely clean and completely spot free. Now there are a few different types of DI systems. Number one is a mixed bed system. This can be in a single cartridge or dual cartridge. Spotless is a company that's very, very well known in this whole DI industry. And with the majority of their systems, they use two tanks. Both of them are gonna be filled with mixed bed resin. It'll go through again, and push it out completely clean on the other side. They have their DI 20, they have it as a wall mount or a cart mount, so a DIC or DIW, but it's the 20, which means it's a dual bed system, or they have the simple chuck, which is their highest capacity unit. And that one I'm not 100% sure. That one actually might be a dual resin setup. I'm not sure about that, but basically if it is a dual resin setup, that's what this is here. There's one tank of, I apologize guys, I don't know exactly how to pronounce these, but one of them is cation and the other one is anion, I believe. I'm not sure if that's how they're pronounced, but what you need to know is it's two different types of resins. The mixed bed, I guess, is a mixture of these two into one. I'm not 100% sure about that. There may be other things mixed in as well. Not important though, really. What we need to know is most systems that are out on the market are going to be a mixed bed system. Alternatively, like I said, you can go split like this and do a dual bed system. There are some benefits to that and some negatives. With a mixed bed system, you can take it down to all the way to 0 parts per million. At my shop here, I operate high 300s, and it comes out 0 parts per million, so completely clean. This two system type of a setup, it will produce completely spot-free water, but it doesn't take it down to 0. It takes it down to 1 part per million. So what is actually spot-free water? And from all the research I've done, it's anything from 20 parts per million and below. From my experience, guys, I currently use a rental system, and anytime out of that system, it's a mixed bed system, and anytime I get above about 8 parts per million, I start noticing something left over on the paint. It's not water spots, but it's something. So I don't know if that's consistent all the way through all the different brands and all that kind of stuff, or if it's just my tank here. But again, it's still spot free. It's leaving something on the panel. I can't even explain what it is, but definitely not water spots, but I can't just rinse it off and walk away. I still have to do a quick wipe on it. Okay, so from there we know about the two systems, right? We have mixed bed or dual bed systems. And when I say dual bed, even if it has two chambers, it can still just be a mixed bed. Dual bed means cation and anion. So with that, guys, I went online and there are two major manufacturers. Again, Spotless is very, very well known in the auto detailing industry. Really cool because they're so easy to replace the cartridges. You screw off one cartridge, screw the other one on. It's very, very simple. And then on the other side of that is OnTheGo. That's this company here. They make the ones for Syetems. I don't know if they do the labeling for the other brands as well, but these will be a very similar system to everything else out there. The differentiating factor with the Spotless is the ease of use, guys. And they actually have a replacement program where you can get the refill cartridges a bit cheaper, but we're gonna go over the numbers here and we'll see if that's actually cost effective or not in comparison to something like this. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and jump into the actual numbers. I just nerded out on my computer for a while, created this whole Excel document, and I will flash that up here. So I just have this one here for my notes, but I'll flash it up here so you guys can actually see by category and by actual model numbers. Okay guys, so for this test, to do the numbers, we're gonna say that we're going to be averaging 100 gallons of water being used per month, so 1,200 gallons per year. And we're gonna be saying that the water that we're filtering through this thing is coming in at 300 parts per million. Now again, I mentioned that the US average is 350 from what I found, but just to make the math easier, we're doing 300 parts per million. So the first system that we're gonna be talking about is from CR Spotless. This is the one that everyone uses. This is the DI20. Actually the DIW20 or the DIC20. One's a wall mount, one's a cart mount. We're gonna be talking about the wall mount just because it is a cheaper price. So with that system, either one of those, right, wall mount or cart mount, directly from the CR Spotless website, at 300 parts per million, you can expect to get 253 gallons of clean, spot-free water out of that system. Now again, at 253 gallons, we're talking about doing 100 gallons per month, so that's gonna get us through 2.5 months. However, we wanna extrapolate that out and find out what the actual cost is per year. So then we have two options. We have the basic refill, which we can just buy right out front, right? It's $139 for that system, or if you do the exchange program, it's $119. So your initial cost per gallon, if you're just buying that setup and using it through the 253 gallons, you're gonna be averaging $1.62 per gallon of spot-free water. Now again, that's only covering about 2.5 months. We have to extrapolate that over a year, so we have to look at the cost of the refills, bringing the total cost per gallon on the refills to 55 cents. So great price there in comparison to the initial cost setup. 55 cents if you're just buying it outright, or 47 cents if you're part of the refill program. So again, we wanna know the cost per year. So between the two of them, the one, if you're just buying the cartridges yourself, your initial yearly cost, including the setup, right, actually buying the unit, is going to be $930.71. Or if you're using the exchange program for the cartridges, it'll bring it down to $854.95. So your average cost over the whole year, if you're buying the replacement cartridges, is going to be an average of about 78 cents per gallon, or if you're part of the refill program, 71 cents per gallon. And then from there going on, after that first year, right, you already bought the machine or the system, now you're just buying refills. So your cost going on for the next year, same 1,200 gallons. If you're just buying the cartridges, $660 or 55 cents per gallon. Or if you're part of the refill program, $564 or 47 cents per gallon. Stick with me, guys. I know this is a lot of numbers. It was hard for me to really get this broken down. So if you appreciate it, please make sure to like the video. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's move on to the second system we're going to talk about. This is going to be the other one from CR Spotless. This is their higher output system. It's a dual tank, but this is called the Simple Chuck or Double Chuck. It's 2 filters. Again, I don't know if this one is 2 filters of mixed bed or if it's going to be cation and anion. I don't know. But here are the numbers, right? Initial cost for this thing, $469. So it is more expensive, but you get a higher output. Again, at that 300 parts per million, you're expected to get 329 gallons, which brings your initial cost per gallon down from $1.62 from the other setup down to $1.43 per gallon on the initial setup price, right? Just buying that tank with the resin that's in there. Refills, though, are a big difference here. And if you're just buying them outright, $269 for the refills, which brings you to an average price per gallon of 82 cents on the refill side. Not great, but if you do sign up for the refill program, it brings it down to $155. So then you're at 47 cents per gallon. So with this one, if you're not going to be doing the refill program, I would say don't buy this system. But if you are going to do the refill program, you're going to be pretty much right at the same cost per gallon as the DI20 system. So really trying to decide what that is. I think they really market this thing to be the higher output one, but when you look at the numbers, we're going to be continuing on with this, but when you look at the numbers, it's not much better at all, if not worse, actually. So again, Simple Chuck, let's see here. Our initial cost for the first year, buying the setup and using it for a year along with refills. If you're not part of the refill program, it's going to cost you $1,184.69 to get the same 1,200 gallons versus the DI20 was $930.71. If you are part of the refill program, this is where the price starts getting better for you. It brings it all the way down to $879.84 compared to the $854 on the DI20 system. So you're still higher upfront cost for that first year. Now moving on to the second year where you're just dealing with refills, and that brings us to a price per gallon. Again, if you're buying the refills, Yourself, 99 cents a gallon. Or if you're using the refill program, 73 cents per gallon. Again, still higher than the other DI20 system, but we're moving on now to just refills, right? So the second year, we already bought that, had the initial cost, moving on to a second year and down the road from there. We're gonna be at $984 a year of use for 1,200 gallons buying the refills, or for part of the exchange program, $564, which is again, the exact same price as if you're part of the refill program on the DI20. So there's no benefit to that simple chuck from what I'm seeing, none. You do get a higher output right off the bat, but when you extrapolate that out to like your lifetime use, it's the same cost. So keep that in mind, guys. That was a bit of a surprise for me when I ran the numbers. I was actually pretty shocked by that. Okay, now, outside of the CR Spotless realm, those are their two main systems that they have. Then they have smaller ones, so those are the ones we wanted to talk about. Now let's go on to OnTheGo. Again, Syetems uses this company for their DI system. I'm sure other brands do too, I just don't know that for sure. So, first one that we're going to be talking about is along the same lines as the CR Spotless machines, we're going to be talking about the mixed bed systems. So this can be, for these guys, since their tanks are so much bigger, the mixed bed is just one tank, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, the first one from OnTheGo is their mixed bed standard. This is their smallest size. It only costs $245. So the cheapest upfront cost here, guys. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for home use, this may be a great option. Really cheap upfront cost compared to all the others. Yeah, like $150, more than $150 less than the competition. With that though, at 300 parts per million of water going through it, you're expected to get about 185 gallons of water, so quite a bit less than the competition. That's going to bring us up to an initial cost per gallon of $1.32. So even though you're getting a lower yield, the price is low enough that your overall price per gallon is the lowest here so far. Now refill costs on this thing, 90 bucks. So significantly cheaper than the others. The refill cost per gallon comes down to 49 cents. And now if we're talking about the full year, right? The full year upfront cost will be $741.55. That's using 1,200 gallons. So that brings us down to an average cost per gallon over that first year of 62 cents. Now guys, you can actually get this even lower. If you buy their refills in bulk, it brings the cost down even more. But I wanted to try and keep this as simple as possible and go kind of apples to apples and worst case scenario on these ones because the value is still better there. So again, that's the first year after buying the equipment. Now the second year, we're just doing refills. Again, this is with just buying one at a time. You can get this even lower, but moving on from there, you'll be spending about $583.78 per year, bringing your average cost per gallon on the second year to about 49 cents. Now when you look at that, the CR Spotless machines were a little bit cheaper on the second year. You're going to be at 47 cents. Now, does that make sense for the average person that's only using about that much water? It's going to take you a long time to recoup any investment that you're saving on, because your initial cost on the CR Spotless was more. Saving 2 cents per gallon over the year it's going to take a while to recoup that initial investment. Now we're going to get into another mixed bed system from OnTheGo, but this one gets very, very interesting because it's a double. So this is actually the double. The single is thinner than this. The double is nice and wide. And this one actually comes with a bypass on top. If you guys have seen my other videos with the Syetems tank that I have in my van, that I use in case I run out of water in my tank, I can fill this up at someone's house. It is this system here, guys. The Syetems one is this system with a mixed bed resin inside of it with the bypass. Why is the bypass important? Well, for me, it doesn't matter. I use spot-free water across the whole process of my car detailing, from initial rinse to the final rinse. But for a lot of you at home use, you may want to use your regular, tap water for the initial rinse and your foaming and all that kind of stuff, and then save the spot-free water for your final rinse to get that nice, clean, spot-free finish. You're rinsing away all the contamination, it's gonna stay there nice and clean. If you're doing it that way, the numbers I'm gonna be talking about are using the machine without using the bypass, just straight across the board. If you use that bypass, you're going to exponentially increase the gallons that you're gonna get, or time that you're gonna get. It's gonna be the same amount of gallons of flow, but say you're using 10 gallons to wash your car, and you're using 8 gallons of tap water, 2 gallons for the final rinse. That 2 gallons, obviously, 2 gallons per car wash versus 10 gallons per car wash, it's gonna last you a whole lot longer. So let's go ahead and jump into the numbers, guys, here. This is the OnTheGo mixed double bed with the bypass. Cost is $430 even, 430 bucks. So it falls in between the CR Spotless, the DI20, and the Simple Chuck. 435 bucks, but at 300 parts per million, we're expected to get 375 gallons of clean water out of that. So significantly more than the CR Spotless machines. And that initial cost of buying the setup, what you're gonna be averaging cost per gallon will be $1.15. So by far the cheapest there out of all the systems we've talked about so far. Now the refill cost, again, same thing with like the other one from OnTheGo. If you buy them in bulk, the price comes down, but this is the single cost, single purchase price, so the highest price actually. The refill will be $155. So your average cost per gallon from the refills is 41 cents, bringing your total cost for the first year to $769.50 to buy the setup, buy the refills to get 1,200 gallons over that first year. Now, that comes to an average of 64 cents per gallon over the year. Then when we go on to the second year, we're just buying refills, guys. It's going to be 496 bucks for 1,200 gallons, or 41 cents per gallon. So our cost per gallon here, that is now the cheapest overall. And then when you factor in the bypass, you can really extend the life of that even more. Now with that said, guys, you could build out your own bypass for any of these systems, so keep that in mind as well. But this one's nice, it just comes with it. Okay, so everything we've spoken about so far has been mixed bed resin, right? Now we're moving on to a dual tank system, cation and anion. And basically what this does is these two valves here, they give you a little hose that connects in. So water comes in the first one, goes through, passes through that, goes into the other one, comes out clean. The negative of this system, obviously it's two tanks that you have to deal with. And the secondary one, I think it's the anion, can smell a little bit fishy from what the company told me. Now I will say, when you take the cap off, and obviously the resin's there so you can kind of smell it, it smells like if you're familiar with fishing, power bait, that kind of a thing, off in the distance. That's what it smells like to me. Like I could smell that now for sure. When it's in your line system, that reduces significantly once you have it all hooked up, to your pressure washer and everything. But just know that you can have a slight hint of some sort of a kind of a fishy odor. This is not a problem for me. I don't care. It's very, very light. We're washing the cars outside 99% of the time. And the cost savings of going with this type of setup, guys, is so significant that you're not going to care if you have a scent to it. Now, again, like I said, normally in an actual line setup where water's going in, it's going through the filter, then running a hose into my pressure washer, then coming out of the pressure washer, I really don't notice it. But I just wanted to be upfront with you. When you open this thing up, you will smell a little bit something a little fishy. Okay, so this one here, this is the dual bed. This is the dual bed double. So again, the bigger tanks. The first one we're going to talk about though is the dual bed standard. And guys, I really think for those of you at home that are looking for a system to use at home and looking for the long term, if you're using about the 100 gallons per month to wash your car, this is probably going to be your best bet. This one will actually get the cost down even more, but just a little bit. If you're using a lot of volume, this is where you're going to go. This is what I'm using. I'm going to be replacing my rental system that I use. We'll talk about that after we talk about these systems and why I'm doing that. But let's go ahead and talk about the dual bed standard size. So the initial cost for this system is $395. So we're right there with the mixed bed double and then all the DI20s. Those are 410 bucks, 409 and 430. This one's a little bit under that, but right around the $400 price point, right? But because we're running a dual bed system and not a mixed bed system, right, where we're using two different types of resins here, we're going to be getting at 300 parts per million, 420 gallons out of that. Again, when you compare that to the other ones, the other one that was highest was 375 from the mixed bed double. This is a single size. So again, it's really, really good value. And then let's talk about the refills as well. I apologize, I'm getting ahead of myself. Initial cost for that setup, right? The dual bed standard size. Initial cost will be at 395 bucks. It's gonna cost you 94 cents per gallon. Everything else is over $1. The next cheapest one was $1.14 of that per gallon from the initial cost. So, and then as high as $1.61. So this is a phenomenal value here. Refill costs is another thing that is a phenomenal value. $112. So when we're talking about that, the refill cost per gallon, guys, we are down to 27 cents. 27 cents. The next lowest was 41 cents. And then all the way up to 82 cents, depending on with the CR Spotless if you're buying the refills. All right, guys, so with all those numbers, the cost for your first full year, 1,200 gallons, and buying the setup will be $605.40. So not a huge cost. I mean, let's see here. That's kind of the cost of just refills from the other brands. So this is actually buying the equipment and the refills for that first year, $605.40. Average cost per gallon for that first year, 50 cents. Now, going on from there, you already have the equipment. All you're doing is buying the refills, $320 for the year after that, guys. So really, really good price here. And again, if you buy them in bulk, you can actually get that down even lower. But the cost going forward after you buy the equipment is going to be costing you 27 cents per gallon. All right, guys, now moving on to this setup. This is the one that I will be using because I do use a lot of water for my business. So the dual bed double, again, 2 different types of resins, double the size. This thing retails for $599, 600 bucks. We'll just say 600 bucks. It's like $599.95. So $600, but at a capacity of 300 parts per million of water. Going through this, we can expect to get 840 gallons. Fantastic deal there. Bringing your initial cost per gallon to 71 cents. The next best was 94 cents. So another 23 cents less. Crazy. The refill costs on this one are $210 because it's a bigger capacity, which comes to 25 cents per gallon on the refill costs. So your total upfront cost for the whole year, $686.40, which is a total cost per gallon for that first year buying the equipment and the refills, 57 cents for that first year on average. And then moving on for the years after, $300 a year, guys. Cheapest across the board here. 300 bucks for the whole year, averaging 25 cents per gallon. So as you can see, guys, there are some benefits to doing a dual bed system. If you're looking for the most cost effective, this is it. Yes, there may be a slight fishy smell when you open this up and you're getting it set up, but not anything that's going to be a deterrent from saving all that money. It's a significant price difference. I love this, and you can, you know, you have to figure it out. You'd have to set up your own bypass, which I'm going to try and figure out for you. We'll do another video down the road. We'll also do a video just setting this thing up at my house because I'm going to be using this one at my house. That gets us into why I am not going to be using a rental system anymore. I've talked about the rental system I used in the past. People have reached out to me like, hey, which one do you use? I tell them, and they're like, oh man, it's not available in my area. Unfortunately, it's only available here in Southern California. I have no idea the logistics behind other companies for the rest of the United States. No idea. But we're going to break down the costs really quickly of my rental system. Now, with that system, they give you a very large tank. It is full mixed bed resin, and I'm getting about 1,000 gallons out of one tank. And that 1,000 gallons, really, it probably lasts me a month. Actually, I don't know. But we're going to run, I did the numbers based on a month, so we're going to do it with that. So the rental is about $130 per month. So if I'm replacing the tank once a month, every 1,000 gallons, $130 is what it costs me to call them up. They come out, pick up the old tank, drop off a new tank, $130, including the rental fee, the fuel surcharge, all that good stuff. Comes to $130 a month, or just right about there. Now, on top of that, you do have to, when you first start off with them, you do have to give them a deposit. When I first did it, it was 250 bucks. I have no idea what it is now. I've had this thing for years. It's probably higher. But anyways, with the whole initial cost up front for that first year comes to $1,800.10. That comes to a total for that first year of 15 cents per gallon. So crazy good price, right, guys? Really, really good price. However, moving on from there, now, second year, you don't have. I'm not factoring in the deposit anymore. 1,560 bucks, 13 cents per gallon. So if you're looking for the most cost-effective, a rental system, in my situation, is the best choice. The downside of the rental system, it's not available everywhere. When I first signed up with these guys, they delivered to residential addresses as well as commercial addresses. I moved, and now I'm in a commercial address. No problem. They come, deliver, pick up, everything's good. However, from what I understand, they do not deliver to residential addresses anymore, and since I'm going to be setting up a whole detail bay at my house, that's not an option anymore. So I wanted to figure out what is the best cost option for me, and that's here. The dual bed system, dual bed double, Cation, Anion from OnTheGo. that's what it is for me. I'm gonna actually have these guys available on my website moving forward as well, or you can just go straight over to their website, use code DetailGreen. I think it'll get you 5% off or something like that. It'll get you something. So I'll link their website as well as mine down in the description. Actually, I don't know if I'm gonna have these available on my site yet, but they will be coming up here soon. So just keep an eye out for it. But like I said, guys, with the rental, it's not available for me at my house. So it's not even an option. So forget that 13-cent number per gallon. That's not available. And again, across the US, it may be different for other companies. Could be more anyways. So this is a phenomenal, phenomenal value at 25 to 27 cents per gallon, depending on if you do the dual bed double or just the dual bed standard. And another thing to mention with the rental is I always had to be at the shop here at my location for them to make the delivery, which is a problem for me. Sometimes I'm out detailing and they're trying to deliver and I need the tank and they can't deliver and it's a pain. So the fact that I can just order the resins, refill them myself as needed, really, really simplifies the process. And again, this is slightly more, or actually double the price really, per gallon, but still at 25 cents, I'm okay with that. That's a good value, especially for detailing my car, especially for home use, right? As a business, I can justify the higher cost. But if you're home use, you want to keep that cost as low as possible. And this is it for you guys. So that is it for today's video, guys. I hope that helps you. A ton of research went into this. I apologize if it was a bit long-winded, but hopefully it all came across nice and clear. I'm going to put this up here so you guys can see the actual cost breakdowns. If I mess up on any of the math, I apologize, but it should be right there. These are definitely the most cost effective across the board. So that's it for today's video, guys. Make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos and as well as how to set these up at my home shop and then also building out my whole home shop, right? We're talking about the flooring, all that kind of stuff, wall mount vacuums. We're gonna be doing all that good stuff. So make sure you subscribe. So again, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. And we'll see you on the next one.